F124 driver career mode for season 2, round number 16, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Yes, it is the final race of season 2. This is the finale for this season, and it is Abu Dhabi, a track that we have not raced at yet. We did not race here last season. Going into this race, we're going to put an aerodynamic upgrade on the car because we don't actually have a regulation change going into season 3, which is quite disappointing because it's almost certainly going to be our final season on this game. But we might as well put an upgrade on there for next season because I don't know, we will probably be sticking with McLaren for next season. Now we had an engine issue, what's the word? A DNF last race. So this race we're going to have to take a grid penalty anyway. So we're just going to take like 4 brand new parts, and yeah, basically we will be starting at the back of the grid no matter what here. And then looking at R&D, the grid's actually pretty close. No real changes going into this one from the last race. Red Bull still quickest car at the top, and then we're right there behind Aston Martin. And then yeah, it's all very close. The whole field, to be honest, is quite close. Now looking at the driver standings, the Drivers' Championship has already been sealed. Charles Leclerc's already sealed that last time out, so he is the Drivers' Champion. Piastri's pretty much set on for second. We are set on for third. So really, there's no moves in that top 3 there. In the Constructors though, McLaren, we are pretty much, well, we are stuck there in third, but there is still a battle on for the Constructors' Championship between Aston Martin and Ferrari. Only 10 points separate the two of them, so that is the big battle here. Also another big battle, Haas and Visa Cash App RB in 7th and 8th. They are battling over 7th position there, currently equal on points, both on 8 points. So there is a little bit of a battle to look at this race. So as we get into qualifying here, Q1, Abu Dhabi is it's an okay track to drive around as we very nearly smack into the back of, I think that was Max Verstappen there in the Red Bull. Very nearly hit him there, but thankfully we did get out of the way. A little bit of perhaps dirty air behind Oscar Piastri there as we come around that corner, just the back end stepping out a little bit, but still going okay so far here in Q1. We got to, like I said, we're going to have, it's like a 40 place grid penalty I think for this race, so we're going to be starting from the back of the grid no matter what, but we might as well at least go through, see how we do in qualifying. We actually go quickest in Q1. It's Stroll, Zhou, Sargent, Magnussen, and Ocon out in Q1. So one car from one driver from one driver from 5 different teams is what I'm trying to say there. Q2, once again, I think I only did 1 run because I was like, we might as well not, chew through tires and damage engine parts too much, considering we're going to be at the back of the grid no matter what. So I think I just did like 1 flying lap for each qualifying session just to see where we went. Thankfully, once again, it doesn't really matter because I'm at the back no matter what, but my lap time, my 1 lap time in each session that I did was pretty decent. As we come to the end of the lap here, we cross the line and we do go P1 at that point in time, but it ends up being P2 just behind Verstappen. Perez up there in P3 as well, so he's showing some good pace too. Then we have Hulkenberg, Gasly, Bottas, Tsunoda, and Albon out in Q2. Basically the second car to the second driver to the one that went out in Q1, if that makes any sense. And then we're here in Q3. Once again, I usually do 2 fast runs in Q3. This time I only did the 1 because there's no point of doing a second run, so I just went for it on 1 run just to see out of curiosity what my pace was like, because although I'm going to be at the back, it's nice to firstly practice the track a little bit. I don't do the practice sessions just because I kind of want it to go a bit quicker. I don't need to do those practice sessions, so practicing on the track is kind of qualifying for me in a lot of ways. But also, so that's a big thing, just getting the practice in, but also knowing roughly where on pace I sit is also good to know and very important. So I wanted to actually do a proper good quick lap in Q3 here, which is what we're doing, and we're currently on for a decent time, green through sectors 1 and 2, not purple, as we have a bit of a moment there out of that kind of long left-hander. This potentially not the best lap ever, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. We're just kind of going for it here because I might as well. Once again, a little lively on the back end as we head through that next corner. We are then quite a bit offline heading through these final couple of corners. Not the finest final sector from me there, but we cross the line, and yeah, we're 2.5 tenths off Leclerc at that point in time. We end up P3 though, so it's Max Verstappen on pole position, 1/1000th of a second ahead of Charles Leclerc in second. That is ridiculously close. Literally can't be any closer without being exactly the same time. Then we are there in third. We do beat Perez though, so even though we have the grid penalty, we get the point over Perez in the qualifying head-to-head. And then it's Lando Norris P5 with the 2 Aston Martins behind him. So that is the grid for this race.
So here we are, ready to go racing for one final time this year. Another season of victories, controversies and rivalries lies in our wake. And just one challenge remains, here in the United Arab Emirates, on a circuit that made its spectacular debut back in 2009. Welcome to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We have 16 corners here at Yas Marina circuit, 7 to the right and 9 to the left. It's a total lap distance of 3.28 miles, 2 long straights and overtaking opportunities throughout the lap. We expect average speeds of around 123 miles per hour. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Albon, Tsunoda, Bottas, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Hamilton, Stroll, Sainz, Ocon, Magnussen, Joe, Verstappen and Shaw. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So a lot of other grid penalties this race, kind of to be expected for the final race of the season. Max Verstappen, the big one though, was supposed to be on pole. He starts alongside us on the back row. It is Charles Leclerc, the driver's champion from this year, on pole position. We get underway. It's a bit of a tentative start for us. Don't want to get too caught up at the start of this race. Just hang back a little bit, let the guys in front battle each other. As Verstappen actually fighting with Zhou, we get very close to the back of Zhou Guanyu there. As they're still side by side at the moment, we just don't really have anywhere to go. I have a look to the inside, but now if we do that, we're gonna be 3 wide into the hairpin there, and that is never gonna work out. So we're just gonna hang back here, let these guys fight each other. It looks like Leclerc has kept the lead. Perez looks like he's lost second place to Alonso here at the start of this race, as we once again just have to sit back and wait here, nowhere to go. Just, you know, wait for an opening. Zhou bounces over the curb a little bit there. That may mean that we get a good run. Actually, Verstappen is all over the curb over the next corner. He's now on the back foot, and we have a run on him right behind, picking up the slipstream. To the inside we go of Max Verstappen, and as we go into the left-hander, brake a little bit later. He's still there on the outside, but we will just about sneak ahead of him. So we are now up to P19. Slow progress, but steady progress, as we are now behind Zhou Guanyu, who locks up a little bit, I think. A little bit of tyre smoke there going through that right-hander. Now we've just got to try and keep Verstappen behind and see if we can make a move on Zhou, because these next couple of cars, apart from Sainz is of course out of position there thanks to his grid penalty, but everybody else should be a fair bit slower than us, so we should be able to make our way through the order now, get past Zhou and see where we can go. So yeah, Verstappen was the main one to get past at the start of this race, which is what we have done. Now on lap number 2, after Perez lost second place to Fernando Alonso, he is going back for a move again with DRS. Leclerc already got almost a second and a half gap to second place now. So the champion from this season is looking to end his championship winning season, his first championship winning season, with a win. As Perez gets up to second, we now have Zhou ahead of us. He does have DRS, I believe, from the car ahead, but we're right behind, a little way back at the moment, but not too far behind. We're actually going to go for a big dive up the inside. He does not defend, doesn't really see us coming there. Felt like he braked quite late. We didn't quite get past him though. Try and get a cutback round the next corner, but it might not be that helps us here, because he now doesn't have DRS on Sainz ahead of him, and that's going to help us massively. And we go to the inside much later on the brakes, almost too late on the brakes there, but we're going to take a wider line. He tries to cut back in on the inside, a little bit of a wiggle from us, but we get past him up into P18 now. We are now over a second behind Sainz. However, we will quickly make that gap back up again as we now head through turn 1 on lap 3, but we have a gearbox issue there. It's yellow on the gearbox. Does that mean that it's completely broken? Yes, it does. 3 laps in to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix finale, and we have another mechanical failure. It is back-to-back failures. It has been a terrible end to this season. A mechanical failure here, mechanical failure last time out in Portugal, and then 2 rounds before that, another mechanical failure in Mexico. It has been a terrible end to the season, and that is Season 2 finale gone just like that.
And here he comes. It's all go, go, go for Lando Norris as he takes the checkered flag and wins. Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they've secured here.
That is a little bit unexpected, of course. The race probably played out differently because it just simulated through, and I imagine because Red Bull's the quickest car on R&D, it kind of pushed them to the front because it ended up being Lando Norris who won. He was down in P5 when we retired. Sergio Perez ended up with second. That was kind of, about where you would expect it to be. He was second on the road at the time. Max Verstappen, though, managed to get up to P3. Remembering he was in P19. I think he was in P20 when we retired from this race. He got up to P3. Charles Leclerc, who was easily looking at leading this race, fell down to P5. So, yeah, a very different race here. Don't really know what went on there, but yeah, Lando Norris, he finished 10 thousandths of a second ahead of Perez. What is that for a finish? That's ridiculous. But yeah, Norris has seemingly been kind of nowhere this whole season, especially compared to Verstappen. He's gone and won the final race in Abu Dhabi, so alright, good on him, I guess. No changes really here, apart from Lando Norris actually moving up to P9, getting ahead of Lewis Hamilton, so he will finish just shy of 100 points in P9 in the championship. Hamilton P10, not the season he would have wanted, that is for sure. And in the Constructors, well, after it not being a very good race for Ferrari, with Leclerc not getting the win, Aston Martin do manage to secure the Constructors Championship. 440 points to Ferrari's 427, and Haas also, it's still 8-8 with Haas and RB, but Haas end up clinching P7. Now we're going to go straight into the pre-season for season 3 because this would be a very short video otherwise. We're picking our team for next season. The only options we have are Aston Martin, McLaren, Ferrari, who we had talks with throughout the season, and RB. We're going to stick with McLaren though. I reckon we are, because I want to be in a good team, a fast team for this next season, but I also want to have the most recognition I can, and Ferrari was going to give me less recognition, so looks like we could get to 42% recognition here with a 1-season contract. That's all we're going to go for. It actually didn't really change very much, only by like 1% if I chose a bigger contract, so there's not really any points. We'll just do a 1-season contract, 89 being our recommended, the target we got to hit. Not that it really matters because I'm probably not going to do another season anyway, but we'll see how that goes. We won our rivalry against Fernando Alonso, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, unfortunately our recognition went down this season thanks to the team finding out about us looking around at Ferrari, and now we have a look at some statistics. 4 wins this season for us, so it was very good in that regard. 3 pole positions, 3rd in the championship with 209 points, so that was a decent season all in all. Now looking at the calendar for season 3, we're going to start round 1 in Bahrain, then we're going to go to Saudi Arabia, then we've got the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola, followed by Monaco back for round 4, Spain for round 5, then we go to Austria for round 6 for our first of 3 sprints of the season. Then we've got the Hungarian Grand Prix round 7, the The Dutch Grand Prix rounds off the first half of the season. Then round 9 kicks off with the Italian Grand Prix, Singapore Grand Prix for round 10. Then we've got the US Grand Prix for the second sprint of the season. Then we go to Mexico for the Mexican Grand Prix, then Portugal for the Portuguese Grand Prix, Las Vegas Grand Prix for round 14, then round 15, the penultimate round, we have the Qatar Grand Prix with the final sprint race of the season, and then the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix round 16 to finish off the season once again. So some races that we had in season 2, some that we didn't, just mixing it up a bit once again. And for our scenarios this time, we went for high inflation last season. We're going to go for balancing out the field, which means that the team currently top of the performance chart is required to remove one upgrade at random each race weekend. This is something that would not happen in real life, but it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. So I'm interested to, see how that affects everything, I love these scenarios in this game. It really does seem to, mix things up a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to put a new powertrain upgrade on as well. And that is a look at the teams, and here's a better look. First of all, in championship order, Aston Martin, they have a new livery. We've got new liveries for most of the cars this season, most of the teams. It is still Fernando Alonso and Oscar Piastri at Aston Martin with their brand new Honda livery. They've partnered up with Honda for season 3, and that is their new lineup. Can they go for the championship this time around? Or at least the drivers, they won the Constructors. Ferrari, of course, won the Drivers' Championship with Charles Leclerc, and it is still Leclerc and Sainz at Ferrari. They are now, as you can see with HP, a little bit of a different livery. I quite like this livery. I did have a different livery for Season 2, of course, and I was debating keeping the same one, but I thought I'd switch it up. Now McLaren, we are sticking with McLaren. It is still myself and Sergio Perez. A little bit of a change of livery here. Basically the same McLaren, however we've got more of a chrome color than the black, just to mix it up a little bit. One annoying thing is that the numbers don't seem to be working on this livery, so that's a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. Red Bull also going back to a more traditional Red Bull look, although very, very blue, because Ford are now partnered with Red Bull. So you've still got Max Verstappen and Lando Norris at Red Bull. Can they keep their form going that they finished season 2 with after a disappointing start to that season? Mercedes also keep their lineup of George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, but now they've teamed up with WhatsApp. It's now Mercedes WhatsApp, I guess, Mercedes AMG WhatsApp. Bit of a different looking livery, black with these kind of green stripes. I think it looks pretty cool, and I'm interested to see what Mercedes can do, because they were kind of in no man's land last season. Williams had a pretty good season, actually, P6 in the end, good result for them. They stick with their livery from last season, the Gulf livery, but they now have Alex Albon and Oliver Bearman. Logan Sargent has been kicked out of Williams, and Ollie Bearman gets his Formula 1 debut with Williams. At Haas, there's no change in the driver lineup. It's still Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen. They had a bit of an up and down season, but finishing 7th in the championship was okay compared to 10th in season 1, so it's definitely an improvement. They team up with Castrol and Toyota for this season, so a bit of a different livery once again for them. Visa Cash App RB, of course, with Red Bull going with Ford. Ford also come to RB as well, so a little bit of a different livery. Quite like this livery, I think it looks pretty cool. They still have their same lineup from last season of Yuki Tsunoda and Lance Stroll. Had a few good performances here and there, especially Tsunoda, but nothing amazing. It's changed at Alpine as well. They have the same livery once again, the Alpine Elf livery. Do think this is quite a cool livery, but Esteban Ocon still at the team, but Pierre Gasly, arguably their better driver, has been dropped for Frederick Vesti. So Vesti gets his Formula 1 debut with Alpine, so that's interesting. And then finally, Stake Sauber scored no points last season. They are now Audi Sport. They have changed over to Audi. Audi have bought the team. They've kept their same lineup of Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu, but it's a completely different livery, a completely different team. And yeah, can they do anything this season. Our balancing out the field thing means that Red Bull has removed an upgrade going into this first round of the season, so we'll see how that affects things. But there we have it, we're ready to go for Bahrain. That was it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.